We will go ahead and get started. Everyone will find their seat. And we have a couple visitors today, so just wanted to start. Actually, my boss, Sherry Robinson, will be here in just a moment. And then, of course, Amy Wall. Some of you may know her. She might have moved you in many moons ago. But Amy is our regional sales director, and then my boss, Sherry Robinson. So she normally will come about once a quarter. She always wants to make sure she stops by Tuesday Talk, and then, of course, always sets up a meeting with our RoRo president. So anything you have for her while she's here today, please let us know. We'll, of course, take questions after all of the updates. So just a quick reminder, please go ahead and silence your cell phone so everyone that's here in the audience and watching from home can hear all of the updates and questions and discussions. So I know we have a couple resident announcements. I know Miss Annette, Miss Candy, and Miss Rosa. So I'll start with Miss Annette, and we'll go from there. Thank you, Betsy.
Good morning. Just one quick reminder, this Saturday is the most exciting day. We're going to award 40 scholarships to our recipient or to our associates. We're invited to come, and thank you. You're the source of why we're giving these scholarships. You're the ones who have donated this great amount of money this year, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Everyone who donated and everyone who will be here for the ceremony on Saturday. As always, thank you, thank you. It's highly appreciated.
2 o'clock here in the town hall on Saturday.
Keep us together, Candy.
Good morning. Candy Muller, Chair of the Dining Committee. You're going to hear from Lindsay probably more than once about the Pulse survey that we're sending out on dining. And I just want to give you some information about surveys in general. I've gotten some information on a study on surveys, and it turns out that most of the surveys that are returned universally are people that are unhappy with things or have suggestions or things they would like to see changed. And that's fine, because we want to know that. But then those same studies show that people that are content and happy and like what's happening don't return their surveys because they just say, oh, I'm happy, I don't have to do anything. Not true. We want to hear from both sides, so if you're unhappy, please let us know and make suggestions. But if you're happy, please let us know and let us know what you're happy with. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Candy. So that's exactly what we've discussed, is the completion rate of the survey is just as important as all of the feedback. So that is our goal. We will do the Pulse survey coming this next week, and then I've discussed that we will be rolling out the large one that we do every 2 years in August. So we'll get into that and more to come, but thank you, Candy. That's great information. Go ahead, Ms. Rosa.
Good morning, I'm Rosa Heckman, and I would like to ask if any of your residents have a small desk that you do not need anymore. We could use one in the arts and craft room. It will be used by the desk chair, by the volunteers, because to sit up a little higher would make us feel great when we create cards. Thank you.
If you don't get any takers, we can help you with that, Ms. Rosa. I'm sure we have a couple laying around. Any other resident announcements? Okay, so we will move into our weekly updates. So just a reminder, mark your calendars. I know we have discussed this over the last few Tuesday talks, but we are going to be doing the emergency preparedness and hurricane annual. That will be on Tuesday, June 17th at 10:30. So we will be discussing what Regency Oaks does to prepare for hurricane season, fires, and what you need to do to get prepared as well. So we'll go over our plan, we'll go over supplies, we'll go over communication, and we'll go over what you should start doing pretty soon, immediately, because we're getting that time of year. Again, that is Tuesday, June 17th. We will do it at 10:30 in place of Tuesday Talk, and we will go over all of the hurricane and fire information for the community. And we always have that in a slide deck, so we can always send that out to you if you'd like a copy as well. So again, the 17th at 10:30. Just our weekly reminder, please make sure we're returning our luggage carts, wheelchairs, and other items that are in those service areas. We are continuing to work with our vendors and various movers to not use those as well. I know that's been an issue. We remind Blue Team, we remind CDS, we remind Doc's movers, but sometimes we have various movers that come, and so we're staying on top of that as much as possible as well. So thank you in advance for all of the collaboration on that. Just another friendly weekly reminder, I think we're just going to keep this one up. Please remember to clean up after our pets. I continue to get concerns about that. Again, if you need help, that's something IHS can help you with. If you're having issues either walking your pets or cleaning those cat boxes or even bending over and cleaning up after them, we can most certainly help you with that, but we need to make sure we're cleaning up after them. And then, of course, just remembering to keep them out of dining areas while we are having those meal services. So again, please, if you need any help, we can help you, and we can have IHS assist with that process. So speaking of IHS, summer's on its way, so let them help you get ready for your vacations, your outings, and your gatherings. They can pack up your items, they can help you get organized, they can take you to the airport, they can escort you to events. There's lots and lots of things they can be helping you with. And then as far as those medications that we discussed last week as well, they can continue helping with any medication reminders you need. I know many of us are on many medicines, and taking them at the right times and not getting them mixed up is really important. So remember, IHS can help you with those med reminders as well. So as always, if you need any help from them, you can call Christine and Maddie at 502 or 503 to schedule services. So I know this has been up there for a couple of months now, but just wanted to remind you again, we submitted the 60-day per the OIR to let you know a change in services. We are implementing that late fee, and that did begin this month. So if you do in fact end up having to pay your monthly service fees after the 10th, there will unfortunately be a late fee. But the good news is you can meet with our business office and get set up for automatic draft. So if you need help with that, you can see Sherry or Sarah, and they can help you get set up for automatic draft. But starting June and moving forward indefinitely, we will have implemented that late fee after the 10th of the month. So last call, I know we've discussed this for the last couple of weeks, but the shred bins are still here in each of the lobbies. They are going to be sent back by the end of the week. So just want to make sure any of that information from your taxes, any medical records, anything that you want to shred and have destroyed to where it's confidential, you can most certainly use those. Those will be sent back by the end of this week. Okay, and then just a little bit of updates from Evan. He did want us to know they have carpet cleaned the second floor north building. We have carpet cleaned the first floor north building. We have the south fifth floor scheduled for Wednesday the 4th, and we have the north fifth floor scheduled for Thursday, June 5th. Evan did want to mention we have noticed that our irons are going missing, so please make sure if we're using those that we are returning them. If you're using any of those items in that space, I know the ironing boards and the irons sometimes go missing. Please make sure we just keep those there in those areas and return those. We prefer you not even remove them from that because they are for all the other residents. So just a reminder, we are replacing some of them, but please make sure they stay in those communal areas. Thank you in advance. So, and then just a little bit of additional updates. We have hired an environmental service manager, and her name is Amy, so she's actually going to be in our next orientation, so we will most certainly get some information out about Amy once we have her onboarded. We do have a new floor tech that will be working in the north building Monday through Friday. And then he will follow the housekeeping schedule and spot clean the corridors. This is also, of course, in collaboration with Clearwater Carpets as they help cleaning our carpets routinely. So we'll have additional help with those. I know as we have many different contractors and many vendors on campus, we are having a little bit more carpet issues than normal. So we have kind of beefed up the coverage on that so we can make sure that they stay looking pretty. And then this is just a little bit of the floor tech schedule of the various wings. So Darwin has returned from PTO. He was out on Friday and Monday, but just a little update from the team. Chris held everything down in his absence. We had about 154 completed work orders and 84 remained open. We did program the control board in the pub and the salon water heater. Piper ran new sprinkler heads on the lanais and some new units. TKE elevator serviced elevator 1 in the north and elevator 1 in the south. We did install a new clock on the irrigation in the back of the health center. We are repairing a drop ceiling in the private dining room south. Clearwater Plumbing did work on the main drain in the north kitchen. We did replace a new AC in a new unit. We are continuing to do the final walkthroughs on completed restoration units with Blue Team. Ooh, happened there? It just glitched out on me.
Start again.
Start again. In 1 second. Okay. Get back there.
Just start over.
Yeah, right, just start over. Don't you want that? All right, from current slide. 1 second. Give me a second. Keep going. Keep going. It's not as fast as me. That's what it is. It was tired of Plan Ops updates. And then the last one, of course, just always a reminder that the maintenance meeting with Chris is every Friday at 10:30. So for all of those residents who have any questions about projects, about work orders, that is the time for you to get those addressed with the director that knows about them. And that is 10:30 on Fridays. And that is anything with maintenance, grounds, work orders, plant. And that is Chris, and he is your man. He can answer all those questions for you. Little bit of reminder about the vinyl windows. Please do remember the vinyl windows are not enclosed and weatherproof. If you are running your air conditioning, the doors in your lanais should be closed. This will prevent humidity and dampness in your home. So we get a lot of calls from residents that say, I'm having issues with my AC, I'm having issues with my AC, but they're leaving all their doors open with the lanai that's just vinyl windows. So then we're basically cooling the outside. So we do ask that you keep that in mind as we are continuing to get warmer and having more issues related to that. And then just a preemptive reminder as we get ready for hurricane season, we should not be keeping electrical items on the vinyl lanais during hurricane season. We know it's raining daily now, usually later in the afternoon. If you have your computer out there and you have a vinyl lanai, that's not a good idea. So let us know, we can help you move those items, but particularly for hurricane preparation, that will be something we'll need your help with. If you need our assistance, let us know in advance so we can assist you with that. But we usually start getting those calls about a day before the hurricane, and there's many other preparation items we should be doing. So let us know, we'll communicate, and we can most certainly help you with that. So just another little reminder again, I know I had this last week, but please do not remove the blue tape as they are marking items for Blue Team's follow-up. So please leave those there. They have all their information of what needs to be taken care of in that area on that carpet. So reminder from Resident Services, the Transition of Care handbooks went out to all residents over the past few weeks. Those who requested a digital copy of the handbook should have received an email. Please do review that Transitions of Care handbook and you can let Kelly know if you have any questions. As we mentioned last week, if you have a concern about another resident, you want to mention it, please just ask the front desk for that see something, say something form so we can help identify some residents that might need our resources. Again, that is confidential due to HIPAA, so we won't be sharing that information, but it will help us to provide resources for them. So just a reminder as well, all of our directors from all the departments will be here to discuss important policies and procedures. This is by invite only, but this is for our new residents. So it's our new monthly orientation for our new residents. We had about 15 the first quarter. We're looking at possibly 17 the second quarter. So lots of new residents with lots of information. So this is for them. That is going to be June 4th at 10 a.m. in the town hall. So we will be holding that the first Wednesday of every month. All new residents are provided with an invitation prior to that, and then their families are also welcome to attend. We do ask that ambassadors encourage all new residents to attend this because that it gives them the lay of the land about our community. That way they kind of have an idea of what's going on in a full comprehensive format from every department and every director. And it stops us from bothering them by going to their apartment, all 30 of us, the first week that they're moving in. We learned they don't love that. So just a little update for COVID. Our numbers are getting much better. I know last week I reported about 16. We are subsiding. We are down to about 8 in skilled nursing and 1 in assisted living. So we're moving in the right direction. But for all intent and purpose, we do still have an outbreak in skilled nursing. So we highly encourage you not to be going over there and visiting if you can help it. So of course we cannot stop you. I've mentioned that many times. They do have the right to visitors. However, we do highly discourage you from doing so until the cases have subsided completely. Then as I mentioned, the hurricane preparedness is coming, so those annual forms were distributed to all residents to complete and return to the front desk. So please do update that information so we have that so we can communicate with you and your main contact. If you need help completing that form, Carol, Kelly, or Betsy can assist. We will have the hurricane supplies, so we're going to do the hurricane meeting, and then we'll start the hurricane supplies ordering on that day. And that will allow us to order the lanterns, chargers, and water bladders and items that you will need. So we will begin that. And our annual preparedness meeting is, as I mentioned, going to be scheduled for the 17th at 10:30 in place of Tuesday Talk, and immediately following that, we'll begin the inventory and supply ordering for you. So Darwin and his assistant normally helps with that process. We'll begin it that day immediately following the presentation. And some activities from Ginger. So this week, more exciting stuff. Wednesday, the Thrashers ball game. The bus will leave at 5:45. And to please just check with activities for any open seats. We're looking at the weather. We're hoping it's not going to rain, but that's okay if it does. It's usually in and out. But that is at 5:45. Wednesday, June 4th, we have RO Dance Night, 7 p.m. in Grand Lobby South. Thursday, June 5th, we have Meditation with Ann at 11:30 in Activity Room South. And then Friday, June 6th, we have the Poker for Beginners at 1:30 in Activity Room North. And then Saturday, June 7th, as Ms. Annette mentioned, is the Scholarship Award Ceremony at 2 p.m. here in the Town Hall. So just some information, that $31 gets you a ticket to a suite. Yes, we're fancy, we have a suite. Unlimited hot dogs, chicken tenders, mac and cheese, snacks, brownies, ice cream, drinks, bottled water, and beer. So that's gonna be a good game. So 5:45 is when the bus picks up, so please let activities know for any open seats. You had me at sweet. Just a little update from sales. We have contracted with 7 new residents in May. We are at about 14 deposits toward our goal of 17. So as I always say, thank you to all the ambassadors, all of the committees, all of our residents, our marketing committee that helps make all of this happen, all of your dinners, all of you showing your homes, all of the coordination, collaboration, and support you have with all of our new residents. We really, really appreciate it. Our next event is June 12th at 11 a.m. It's Let's Talk About It, a fun presentation of our life care and lifestyle. And then, as it's mentioned from a meeting with a couple of the residents, we are working on a high-level presentation for the ambassadors on various contract options. We don't want you talking contracts to the residents, but we do want to give you a little bit of high level to kind of give clarification when you get those questions. So we are working on that for you. And just another reminder, I know I've been asked a couple times, this employee's really done a great job. How do we let them know? We want you to let them know. This is how we let them know. I always, of course, recognize them. If I see them, I'll reach out to them. If it's a director, I share your feedback. But these are it. This is our extraordinary impression clock cards. These are in the dining rooms and at the front desks. And this is how you recognize our employees. This is how they get points, and this is how they get Employee of the Month. So if you have anything great or suggestions that you want to share with us, this is how we do so. And these are at the front desks and both dining rooms. So our theme dinner, Alice in Wonderland, these are just some of our photos. You all look amazing. I think Mrs. Val got best dressed. She looks awesome. But thank you for sharing all the photos, Miss Margaret. I think it was a lovely theme, but everyone looked really, really great. So just wanted to share some of those photos from that event. Ricky continues to do the monthly theme parties and try to shake up our dining options. So we appreciate all of the collaboration and attendance. And then just a little going on from food and beverage. So on 6/3, we'll have the tacos and tequila featuring Ahi Tacos. Monday, we are doing the Breezeway. Tuesday, we are having the Wine Club. Wednesday, we are doing the Pasta Night, continuing those action stations. And Wednesday, the 25th, we are doing our Enchanted Evening Luau and Pig Roast. So lots of fun surprises Ricky's working on, but that's a really great event that I love to attend, and we highly recommend you attend. So it's always really great food and a really good time. As Ms. Candy mentioned, on Monday, June 9th, you are receiving a pulse survey in your mailboxes. We are providing it to receive your feedback in preparation for the biannual that will be coming out in August. So we are asking that they be completed and dropped in the ballot boxes that will be placed in the north and the south buildings. Again, this is just food and beverage, but it is a pulse survey to get all of your feedback. We strongly encourage all feedback, good and bad, because we want to hear both. So it is about the participation, it is about the completion, and not just, as Ms. Candy said, the feedback. So we do please, if you have great things to say, please also share that as well. And we look forward to that information so we can make sure we continue our commitment in your satisfaction. So, and then of course, just a little about the North Dining Room. I know we had an incident on Saturday with some heavy rain. So it is going to be open for lunch and dinner. We are working on the landing near the salad bar, the Regency room, and the private dining room if needed. And Sunday brunch will be in the south until further notice. We of course have some significant restoration in there. So Blue Team's already in there working furiously. So we will be having that Sunday brunch in the south until further notice. Then just a reminder, because I know this is coming up, so I just want to mention it again. If you're having any issues with the full count resident portal, the code is Regency Oaks. So just remember that, pass that along, and we'll keep that information up there. Do we still have it on the in-house channel, Ginger?
I'll check with the dining
Okay.
part, but
Just
if
to
it's
make
not,
sure.
I'll put it in.
Okay. So we'll make sure that you have that information. That is for the full count resident portal, and the code is Regency Oaks. And then just a little follow-up from me. So we did complete the paving project. Thank you for your cooperation and collaboration. I know it was a lot of shuffling and moving, so thank you to the resident committee and our maintenance team. We have our last round next year. Remember, this was not voluntary. This was required by our lender for our property, but we will have a brand new pavement throughout the entire campus next year. So one more round and we'll be done with that. The administrative phones, we are continuing to work on the bidding process for that. We have a couple different companies we're working with to get that going. And we are still in the bidding process with the elevators. We've received the completed bids from a couple of the providers, as I've communicated here, being TKE, Duncan, and a couple others, and we're working that out with LCS and HealthPeak. Just as I know, we've completed the IL restoration and remediation of the majority of the independent living apartments. We have moved over into skilled nursing. We are now completing those, and we have begun in assisted living this week. So almost done with that as well. So a couple apartments there in assisted living, and we should be completed with that portion of the internal remediation of the units. RPM is still out with IHS recovering. We know she had a significant health event, so she is still out, but we are continuing with Anna helping with the medication reminders. And then did just want to give an update. Our executive chef, Attila, will be in our upcoming orientation. We will be also sending him to other communities, so he'll be here for a little bit to get onboarded, and then we'll have him go to some other communities for just a full comprehensive training experience. So it's really good to kind of get that exposure to multiple communities. Then you can just kind of take takeaways from each of those. So we're looking forward to having him on board. We want to get him trained and get him accustomed to the LCS way and numerous community experiences. We do have a new recruiter that has started. She has completed orientation and had her first week last week. So we will be welcoming Janie. Her office will be over there in the south, in the recruiter office next to Betsy. And we think she's going to be a great addition to our team. So really happy to have her. So as I mentioned, Sherry Robinson is here visiting. She is with LCS. She is my boss, and she is our corporate regional support. So I know sometimes residents say, LCS never comes out. Sherry's here, she's LCS. She attends all of Tuesday talks on her visits. She meets with Margaret. So if you need anything from LCS, aside from me, she's here to visit, to see the community, and to be as a resource for you all. We will have another regional site visit next week on the 10th and 11th with our HR regional, Quebec. So her and another regional, Ashley Lodi, will be here working with our HR department, and of course greeting Jamie, excuse me. And now I touched on the North Dining Room. I just wanted to make sure I clarified exactly what happened. We did sustain damage from heavy rains and roof. It is currently under remediation. It is about 2 weeks, could be a little longer, but about 2 weeks. They have since repaired and made some patches on that area, but we are still awaiting the scope for the roof to be approved by insurance. So I know I mentioned we are getting ready for our resident survey in August, so we'll have more information about that. We've already started discussing how we will be rolling that out, so more to come on that topic. I know I've been asked quite a few times the external sealing and caulking and the roof repairs. The answer is we are at the mercy of Blue Team and insurance adjusters. I do not have an official date from them yet. So I have been given a couple timelines, but as for the external sealing and caulking, I do not have a date yet. And for the roof repairs, that is a scope that has not been clarified or been given me an exact set date. But as soon as I have that, we're on calls with them weekly. Sherry's on those calls, as well as ownership, insurance adjusters. It's really all in their hands. So timeline's not as fast as I would like. I know I mentioned last week I'd love for it all to be cleaned up and buttoned up by hurricane season. That should not be the expectation. It's not going to be. Obviously, we're already in June and we still don't have a date. So I just kind of want to manage that expectation proactively. But we are continuing to work with Blue Team to make sure that we mitigate as much issues as possible and we get a timeline and a date set and the work done as soon as possible. Our goal is the same as yours. So, but the great news is we'll have all brand new stuff when it's all done. So a lot of this stuff that's being done, it's been annoying, but it's gonna be all bright and shiny and new. So we're looking forward to that part. I know I mentioned, let's see, I wanted to make sure we pointed out that the OIR results and annual and Q1 results are posted in the library for your transparency. Those are per the OIR guidelines, so those are for your viewing, and that is the annual and the Q1 results. We do also have some additional visitors here today. They are forensic architect and flooring experts here with Blue Team. So they are also doing a site visit today, meeting with Darwin and myself at some point as they continue to, carpet's almost complete. They're here to do some last minute details in hopes of buttoning up that part of the project. So I did want to just mention as well, a friendly reminder, I know this came up, we are a no-lift community. Unfortunately, if you do have a fall, we do have an emergency response and we do call 911, but our team is not to be picking you up for your safety and theirs. So I just wanted to remind residents that the expectation shouldn't be a team member will come and lift you up. We don't want that for your safety and for theirs. So I just wanted to remind you of that. So with all of that being said, that's a lot. Miss Mary's got a question. What you got, Miss Mary?
I don't know where this fits in, but I haven't been in the laundry room on 5 in a couple of days, but there's a whole sack of washing, drying there, and it looks like the bedspread and stuff. What can we do about that? I mean, it's been there for a long time.
couple weeks.
Are you saying it's somebody's bedding?
It looks like it.
And clothes.
And somebody put the stuff in a clear plastic bag, maybe housekeeping.
Where's the location?
On 5, the laundry room 5 South.
5 South. Okay, laundry room. Okay. We'll take a look at it. I don't have any knowledge of it, but we'll take a look. So you said it's a bag of bedding.
Yeah. Okay. And my next, not really a question was, if you are able to talk a person who has fallen to get to their knees and get a chair for them and then get up, that's okay, right?
Yes, we won't be lifting
As long
them,
as
but
you
we
don't
can.
lift them.
Yes, we can absolutely grab a chair for them. But yes, we just should not be lifting them.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Any other questions? We actually have Chris and Darwin here. We got Amy Wall and Sherry Robinson. Oh, now the hands come up. Sorry. Welcome back. Yes, Chris.
I don't have a real question, but maybe with Sherry here, we can get some clarity. Excuse me. I didn't know where to start with this, but I'll start with the sprinkler system. That was an idea that came down from the head shed.
Are you talking about the landscaping?
Yes.
Okay.
And great idea to save water. But unfortunately, we saved $100 worth of water, and we'll have to spend $1,000 replacing the landscaping that died. So I was thinking, you can't cut the supply and not change the demand. So it seems like if they're gonna change the supply, we have to change the landscaping and maybe go to xeriscape or low water requirements. And besides that, the company is in Utah, so Corey has to wait until 10 o'clock before he can even call us. I find somebody that's in work. So that wastes a lot of his time too, trying to repair while he's working on a daily basis. And it almost is daily. And that's an idea that came not from us, it came from the head shed. And and got to think of some other things like this is coming up on the 3rd anniversary for the fire restoration. They're still here.
We know. Believe me, I was joking. I said, I don't know Regency Oaks without Blue Team or construction.
They're here. They screwed up and we had to do things over and different and whatnot.
Agreed.
And so Milton had,
Yep.
and who do we hire for restoration? A company that screwed up the first one. I don't see the luck. It's
I'm so
like,
glad you're here.
it's coming from the Puzzle Palace. I mean, really,
I'll just try to take the heat off of Lindsay here, my friend.
And that's my point.
She takes it every week. So, Anyway, I think,
No, Sherry, that's my point.
I know, I'm
I
not
mean,
disagreeing with you
What do we
whatsoever.
blame?
Yeah.
So many people are saying,
Anybody in here ever have a job where people told you what to do and you just, sometimes you didn't agree? Yeah.
yeah, so Lindsay's here trying to explain
Right.
the unexplainable.
She is trying to explain
Yeah.
it. Okay, I'm gonna break it down into little pieces, cause it's an elephant. So,
I'm not picking this up yet.
Don't give it up.
oh, you're not done.
I'm not done.
Thank you, Chris. Go ahead.
No, I mean, I'll let you, go
Yes,
ahead.
sir. The sprinkler thing, it's a mess. I mean, it's a company that we were told to use, and I think the intent was good.
You were told to use, that's the
Right.
problem.
Yes, that's a problem, yes. So, I mean, I'm not gonna stand here and say, certainly I'm not gonna take credit for it. So, you know.
Nobody takes credit for the Edsel.
No, so but I will take responsibility, because ultimately everything that happens here is ultimately our responsibility to address. And I have addressed this with our owners and with multiple other people along the lines, and Lindsay and I were just speaking about it this morning. So we're gonna continue to push. We don't want to zero-scape here. I mean, I think your landscaping's beautiful, you know, what you have, we just can't let it die, of course. But I don't want a zero-scape here, I just don't think that's very pretty. It's more like Arizona or something like that. So, you know, we wanna keep the greenery and keep it green. Luckily, we're in the season where it rains all the time, so, we've got a little bit of time, but that is, I can just tell you that I'm aware, I agree, and I continue to push. and that's, yes, good to see you. Hello.
The cheapest is not always the most.
It is not, Judy, thank you, yes. So that's the first thing, yes, ma'am.
Is there a long-term plan for the environment around us?
Tell me more.
I would just like to know what the plans are. Do we replace trees where they don't need to be here? Are we looking at maybe turning some areas into more of a free landscape type area?
So the trees continue to be something they discuss in the building and grounds. I know Darwin's worked closely with arborists. There is plans, but yes, as far as going to rockscape, because we're having issues with our smart rain, that's not in the plans. It really is just kind of continuing to work with them on accountability. The biggest issue is we had quite an investment in the project, and we don't want to just rip it out because it is significant. It was about $40,000 in full transparency. So we have, I've kind of communicated this over the year. We've installed additional equipment, we've installed additional signals, boosters, all the things. They continue to tell us that it really works well in the majority of the LCS communities it is in. It's just luckily not us. My good luck. So we are continuing to work with them, and at some point I think the discussion will be, okay, how long are we gonna do this? Do we just, because yes, our landscaping is beautiful. We never really had major issues. Corey does do a great job. We know how hard Corey works, so thank you, Chris, for acknowledging that. He is our landscaper. And we continue to work with the company. It was an ownership because the hopes was to have the water conservation. And if it's utilized property, that is the end result. So we're continuing to work through that. Thank you, Chris.
So I want to tell you, I'll try to not make a long story longer, but Blue Team, so I want to address that. I have to go back to 2022. So when Ian came through Punta Gorda, Southport Square property down there at a Category 5, I was in Bradenton and of course hit Southport Square. The very next morning when I walked on, there were probably, I don't know, 150 Blue Team people walking towards me, and I just couldn't believe that, the next morning after a hurricane, we had that kind of response. So they started out with a bang, did a pretty good job with us at that point, and this year, I know you don't think I'm this old, but will be doing senior living for 40 years this year. In July, we started 40 years ago in senior living. So I worked with a lot of remediation companies, and I really can't tell you, Chris, or to any of you that there's ever a perfect remediation company. I think we had, during the fire, we had Blue Team show up, and I pushed them off the property that night. I just happened to be eating dinner really close to here when that fire started, and I was able to get over here pretty quickly. And we made a joke that it was Blue Man that night, because one dude showed up with a fan, and I said, you need to go and get out of here. And so we had ServPro come in and do the initial cleanup. But there's a couple of vendors that our owner, Peak, allow us to use, and that's Blue Team and then Fire 360. So when Milton came through, we did pull Fire 360 in to the property, and we just had a lot of issues with them not having the proper labor. They didn't have as many people as Blue Team had, and although Blue Team's not the perfect company, of all the ones that we had to choose from, they seem to be the most responsive.
And this time around, it has been much better.
Yeah, and so we're working really closely with them. When I pulled them back on the property, I was sitting out here in your parking lot talking to the president of Blue Team on the phone, and I said, I'm gonna be a thorn in your side. Don't have a conference call without me. Don't speak to a team without me. Don't do anything. Send me a daily report. And that's the way we've been managing them ever since. So every day when they color a little bit out of the lines, I go straight to the president of the company, Robert Rubenstein, and I say, Robert, I remember how I told you I was gonna be a thorn in your side? Well, every day you're gonna hear from me until you get it right. So they're not perfect. Dealing with the adjusters who decide what you can do has been a much bigger pain than dealing with Blue Team, because these adjusters decide what they're going to pay for and what they're not going to pay for. And of course, anything they're not going to pay for that we feel like we need, then I have to go back to Peak and say, we still need this, even though the insurance is not going to cover it. So then that's a whole nother process. So that's not for you to worry about. That's my job. That's Lindsay's job, and that's Darwin's job, and that's what we do every day. But I do want you to know that we're not sitting back, you know. I'm not getting my nails done while they're messing up. I'm on them, and I'm on them every day. And anytime Lindsay has a problem with them, it's just a text away to deal with them. So it's not perfect, and my apologies. It's just, you know, as my husband says, I can't control the weather. And so when bad weather comes in here and we have problems, they do get here first. They bring a lot of people with them, and we have to monitor them just like we do any vendor. But I think they're doing as good a job as any of the other vendors that I've had to fire. So, yeah.
I just have a
Yes.
clarification question. You said repair the roof. Aren't we getting a new roof?
Well, so right now we are repairing it until we get that approved, right? Because if there's another rainstorm, we're gonna have the same exact
Right.
issues in the dining room.
Right.
So they did go ahead on Sunday and they came out and they made some repairs to where everything we're doing in the dining room doesn't happen all over again. We are still waiting on new roofs. That's scoped to be approved and when that date is.
Oh, I thought it was in the budget for this year. No?
That's, so, no, it has become part of the insurance claims after the hurricane.
Okay.
Hurricane mixed up a lot. Yes, Miss Judy.
I talked to Darwin last Friday. I am very concerned about the tree on the south side of the P-wing. If you look into it, it is almost half dead branches, at least a third. And if we get a hurricane and those become flying missiles and they ruin my vinyls, I want your insurance to replace them. But I am also concerned about them falling on the cars and if anybody's walking underneath. Because when you're standing on the ground and looking up, you don't see it. You need to come up to the 4th floor and I will personally show you how bad it really is.
We'll follow up on that, Miss Judy. Thank you. Yeah, that.
Actually, I went up and looked at it already with Corey. And to us, it's older like most of the trees here, but we didn't see any issue or anything like that with the tree.
I'll show it to you. You come to my apartment and
We'll take another look at
Yeah,
it.
we'll take another look, no problem.
Yes, ma'am. Sherry, I'm glad that you're here today, and I'd like you to go around and really check the carpet. I am very unhappy. All they're doing is cutting and tucking, and we'll walk out of our apartment, the little guys will be, without us a little. But they're cutting pieces out, putting new pieces in, they're cutting the sides, it doesn't look any better. I don't think it has accomplished, I don't think it's accomplished the problem at all. And when I moved in here almost 12 years ago, everything was beautiful, the carpet, everything. I am not pleased, we never liked that carpet, and I think the insurance company should have just replaced it. And
Yeah, so they are still working on the carpet. It's not a finished product, but there is numerous walkthroughs and we will be reassessing it.
Yeah, 'cause
Thank
it hasn't accomplished.
Okay. Thank you, Brenda. Thank you. Thank you, Brenda. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am. Hi.
Hi, my name is Tony and I live in A203. And I made a request, I put a work order in to have the trees looked at outside my lanai. I have 2 or 3 large trees and there is some dead wood on them. I'm not an arborist, but when I look at it, I see that there's some things that if we had a storm, like that person said, those limbs will become missiles. And nobody better be sitting in my sunroom when that happens. It's a real problem. Last week, as I was walking through the other room in here, somebody said that they had put in a note to the person who's responsible for going out and looking at them. And what I'm hearing is it's you, it's one of you guys?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, so Darwin's our plant operations director, and he works directly with Corey, our landscaping company. He's the owner of our company, and he has many subject matter experts on his team that takes a look at these and determine. Just because somebody points out there's an issue, Corey will go behind and determine that, but we will take a look at it.
All right, so you haven't done it yet. Is that right, Corey?
I think Chris was mentioning to me that he did follow up with Corey. I haven't talked to him yet, but we'll get back to you.
We'll get back to you. I have
You'll
you
need to fight,
2 or
right?
3.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Any other questions?
Are there any plans to look at the stucco after the hurricane?
So Blue Team is evaluating all of that. I don't have anything set in stone about that.
One other thing, is there a possibility to get these sidewalks pressure washed? Because some of them look very, very dirty.
Absolutely, we have that on the agenda. Thank you. Any, yes, Ms. Gale?
This is a question for maintenance. Have you noticed the tree outside of the South Grand Lobby? It looks from the ground like it's maybe impacting the roof, and that would destroy a roof if it isn't trimmed. Have you seen it, Darwin?
I haven't paid attention to that one exactly, but we can take a look. Which one are you saying? The one outside the south?
The South Grand Lobby.
So as I mentioned, everyone, this is really good discussions for the Friday, 10:30 a.m. with Chris and Darwin Maintenance Talk. They have all this information in front of them. They have the arborist, they have the past conversations, they have meeting notes from building and grounds. These are where these kind of questions could probably get answered, because if Darwin wasn't here today, I couldn't answer that. But we will continue to focus on that, and we do encourage you to utilize these outlets for those. We're all here for you any given time, forums, Tuesday talks, but we also encourage these director meetings to be attended, because they're not. And that's really important that we do, that way you get your answers. Sorry? Any other questions?
Yeah, I did have one question. The other night, there were a couple small drops of water from my ceiling. It was just a few drops. And so I called somebody up to check, because I think that's kind of dangerous, especially with the major leak we have just a little ways down the
What's your apartment number?
M209.
Okay, we'll take a look.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi there.
I have, on the outside of
the streets of my lanai 8 or 10 big wasps nests, the mud wasps, and don't think they're going to come in. I'm on 5th floor. There's a hole in the screen and they'll come, so.
So we're actually working on getting a date. We have to hire equipment, we have to hire a lift in order to get up to the 5th floor. So actually Darwin's in the middle of working on that, so we can take care of that for you.
Thank you, I just don't like them.
I don't either, I got you. Any other questions? All right, well, happy Tuesday. Thank you all for your attendance and participation. We appreciate you. Thank you.